Hello students, I am Dr. Sachin Kapur and I wish you a very warm welcome to this session of zoology lecture. The topic of our discussion today is the structure of alimentary canal. We are discussing digestion and absorption. The main topic which we are dealing is digestion and absorption, and this is the fourth lecture of our series in continuity. Till now we have discussed the digestion of carbohydrates, digestion of fats, proteins, nucleic acids. Now we'll be discussing the structure of alimentary canal. So in the alimentary canal we have to discuss buccopharyngeal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the associated digestive glands like salivary glands which produce saliva, liver and gallbladder, pancreas. We'll first start with buccopharyngeal cavity. Now when we say buccopharyngeal cavity, it includes buccal cavity and pharynx. Pharynx is also called throat. It is the common passage for food and air. Pharynx includes nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Right? We'll discuss pharynx in detail. Buccal cavity has a roof that's formed by palate. The floor of buccal cavity has tongue and the sides of buccal cavity has teeth. So overall buccal cavity has a roof, that is palate. The anterior part of the palate is called hard palate. This anterior hard palate has muscular ridges which are called what? Palatine rugae. Rugae are highly developed in case of carnivores for holding the food. They are not much developed in humans. The posterior soft palate has a fleshy hanging lobe that's called uvula. This punching bag kind of structure that is hanging from the posterior soft palate is what is uvula. What is the function of this uvula? See, when you swallow food, the uvula moves upwards to close the internal nostrils so that the swallowed food should go downwards towards your esophagus and it should not go upwards towards the internal nostrils. So uvula, I'm writing here, it closes internal nostrils during swallowing. When you swallow the food, it closes internal nostrils, right? So we have to discuss palate, tongue and teeth. Palate, as I told you, hard palate and soft palate. Now let's discuss the structure of tongue. Tongue is a highly muscular, glandular and sensory structure. Tongue has skeletal muscles which are voluntary muscles. So it is highly muscular, glandular and sensory structure which helps in ingestion of food. So I'm writing here, it helps in ingestion, chewing or the mastication, swallowing of the food or the deglutition, tasting of the food, and it also helps in speech, right? Tongue is not only helping you in tasting the food. Tongue has many other functions also. It helps in ingestion of the food, chewing or mastication of the food. It also acts as a brush for cleaning your teeth, swallowing, tasting and speech. As I told you, tongue is highly muscular, glandular and sensory structure, right? It has skeletal muscles, please remember. Now, let's draw the structure of tongue. The anterior part of the tongue is the oral part and the posterior part is pharyngeal part. So a rough representation to understand the structure of tongue. There is a V-shaped structure here that's called Sulcus Terminalis that divides the tongue into anterior oral part and posterior pharyngeal part. So I'm labeling this structure as Sulcus Terminalis, right? This Sulcus Terminalis, it divides the tongue into posterior pharyngeal part and anterior oral part. Okay? Here you have remnant of the thyroglossal duct, that is foramen cecum. The surface of tongue has projections of mucous membrane which are called papillae. So I'll show you different types of papillae on the tongue surface. These are circumvallate papillae. So let's label these as circumvallate papillae, or simply we call them vallate papillae. Let me write the details also for these papillae. So I told you that the surface of tongue has projections of mucous membrane called papillae. Papillae, they contain taste buds. There are different types of papillae. Like I have mentioned here, circumvallate papillae. These are largest papillae. These contain taste buds. The circumvallate papillae contain taste buds. Number 2 is the largest papillae are the circumvallate, and number 2 is the most numerous papillae, the filiform papillae. These are smallest, these are most numerous. These provide a rough surface to tongue. These do not contain taste buds. So I am showing these filiform papillae. They are most numerous. They do not contain taste buds. So let me write here, filiform papillae do not contain taste buds. Right? They provide a rough surface to tongue. They are highly developed in case of carnivores, dogs, cats, lions. Their tongue is very rough. Why? Because of presence of these filiform papillae, and they are highly developed. Number 3. Fungiform papillae. Fungiform papillae are mushroom shaped. They are mushroom shaped. They are highly vascular. Now because they are highly vascular, so they appear bright red in color. These contain taste buds. So if you are asked a question, which are the most abundant taste bud containing papillae? The most abundant taste bud containing papillae are fungiform. They are smaller in size than circumvallate, but they are larger in size than filiform. So here I have shown you fungiform papillae. The 4th type of papillae are foliate papillae. These are leaf shaped. These are highly developed in children but not developed in adults. So here I am showing Foliate Papillae. These contain taste buds, but they are not developed in adults. They are highly developed in children. So children, they have a better sense of taste. In fact, all other senses are also better in children. As we age, with advancing age, our sensations, they basically decrease, whether it is the sense of smell, whether it is the sense of taste, sense of hearing. So that was the structure of tongue, and these are the different types of papillae: circumvallate, filiform, fungiform, and foliate. What kind of questions can be asked? Which are the most abundant taste bud containing papillae? So when you say most abundant taste bud containing, that is fungiform. And simply, which are the most abundant papillae? Then it is filiform. Which papillae provide rough surface to tongue? Filiform. Now, as I said that papillae contain taste buds, let's see the structure of a taste bud. So we are going to discuss the structure of a taste bud. A taste bud has two types of cells. It has taste cells, which are also called gustatory cells or the neuroepithelial cells, and second is supporting cells or sustentacular cells. Sustentacular means they provide structural support. Now, let me draw the structure of a taste bud. Say these are the taste cells. They are modified columnar epithelial cells. They are also called neuroepithelial cells. This is their nucleus. This apical surface is having what? Microvilli. So this is one taste cell. This is another taste cell. Now with the blue color, I am drawing sustentacular cells or the supporting cells. They are also columnar epithelial cells. So let's label these as taste cells, and the one with the blue color is what? It is supporting cell. The taste cells have nerve supply. Right? This is what? Nerve supply. This is taste pore. Taste buds can taste substances only in their liquid form, right? That's the reason we have mucus in our buccal cavity. So taste buds, they can taste substances in their liquid form. Microvilli, they do what? They increase surface area. Tongue is supplied by many nerves. Tongue has taste buds for taste sensation. We can also have the sensation of temperature on tongue, the sensation of pain, pressure. So there are different nerves which supply your tongue. So let's see the nerve supply to tongue. Nerve supply to tongue. Number one, facial nerve. It supplies anterior 2/3 of tongue and carries the sensation of taste. Another nerve is glossopharyngeal nerve. This nerve supplies posterior 1/3 of tongue and carries taste sensation. Vagus nerve. It supplies the back of tongue, the posterior side of tongue, and also carries taste sensation. Trigeminal nerve. It carries the sensation of pain, pressure and temperature from tongue surface, right? Another nerve is hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve supplies the skeletal muscles of tongue, and it is for tongue movement. Right? You are able to move your tongue with the help of this nerve. So these are the nerves, cranial nerves, which supply tongue. Facial, anterior 2/3 of tongue. Glossopharyngeal, posterior 1/3 of tongue. Vagus nerve, back of the tongue. Trigeminal nerve, it supplies the entire tongue for pain, pressure, temperature, these sensations. Hypoglossal is supplying the skeletal muscles, and it is for tongue movement. Now, we just discussed about taste buds, and I told you that there are different types of taste buds. Now let's see what are the different taste types or the taste modalities which our tongue can detect. Sweet, salty, sour, bitter. These are the basic 4 types of tastes. See, the taste buds are there on the entire surface of the tongue, and you can have these tastes at any region of your tongue. Particularly if we say that bitter taste, it's experienced more at the back of the tongue. The sweet tip of the tongue, salty tip, and nearby sour on the lateral sides. But that doesn't mean that you cannot experience sour taste at any other region of your tongue. You can experience these tastes at any place on your tongue. In fact, certain taste buds, they are present on the inner side of lips, inner side of cheeks, palate, and even on the epiglottis also. Humans do not have taste buds for distilled water. We do not have taste buds for distilled water. Whatever taste of water you experience is because of the salts which are dissolved in water. Chilies, which we daily take in our diet, it's not a taste, right? Chilies, they stimulate pain receptors. It's a burning sensation which stimulates your pain receptors. There's a recently discovered 5th taste called umami taste. Umami is a Japanese word. It means extremely delicious. Food substances which are rich in glutamic acid, like the non-veg diet, food substances which are rich in glutamic acid, it's an amino acid, those substances give you umami taste. You must be knowing that MSG, monosodium glutamate, or Ajinomoto powder, it is added to food substances to produce umami taste. In high dose, it is carcinogenic, so it's not good for health, right? So that was about tongue. You chew the food in your buccal cavity. Tongue also helps in chewing the food. That chewed food, when it gets mixed up with saliva, forms what? It forms bolus, right? So that was about structure of tongue, and we have seen about different types of taste buds also on the surface of tongue. We are discussing structure of buccopharyngeal cavity, which includes buccal cavity and pharynx. Till now, we have discussed about the roof of buccal cavity, that is palate, which has anterior hard palate, posterior soft palate. Soft palate has a fleshy hanging lobe called uvula. Then we discussed about the floor of the buccal cavity. The floor of buccal cavity has tongue. Tongue is connected to the floor of buccal cavity by a fold of tissue that's called lingual frenulum. Say if this is tongue, the side view, this tissue which connects the tongue to the floor of the buccal cavity is what is lingual frenulum. In certain cases, it extends to the tip of the tongue, and there is difficulty in tongue movement. That's called ankyloglossia, or we say that the child is tongue-tied. So it has to be surgically cut so that the tongue can help in speech, because tongue is not only helping in tasting the food, it helps in food ingestion, chewing of the food, the mixing of the food with the saliva, and it also helps in speech. So that's all for this lecture. In the coming lectures, we'll be discussing about the different teeth types in humans as well as in comparison to the other animals also. Thank you.